I've been asked to put together a training, more detailed training on ad to action for people to use in for presentations and so forth. Oftentimes, if you're going to be presenting ad to action, it's nice to know a little bit more in depth about the system in case you get questions asked to you and so forth. So that's really the purpose of this training. And so it's going to be a little bit longer than usual, but I want to cover some of the items more in detail. And to get started, I want to just point out something. On the Ad to Action homepage, you have an area that says presentation, and I really like to talk about this when I visit about Ad to Action because I think it tells a pretty unique story. You know, a lot of people ask you what is Ad to Action and really what makes it different from other platforms out on the web and how's it going to help my business. And by going to this actual presentation here on the website, it answers a lot of those questions, and it takes you through a few slides, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these, but it talks about the fiber optics around the world and how connected the world is, technically speaking, and a little bit about marketing. But the slide that I want to kind of go to is it actually starts here. On the web, you have all these different avenues to generate traffic or visitors. You see sites like Facebook and ad networks, banners, blogging, and I mean they're popping up everywhere. And the big question is, how do I monetize that? How do I take all these different things and somehow help it promote my business or make money off of it in some way, shape, or form? And so a lot of the marketing agencies have targeted these type of systems and networks out there and created models that will help people to be able to tap into them, to share their products, to generate leads or sell products. And really up to this point, nobody has created a system that ties it all together, and that's really what Ad to Action is. And what it is as you have all these resources pushing traffic, the important question is how do you convert that traffic. So to start out, I'm showing a slide here that says landing pages versus websites, and you'll notice in 2004 underneath the search term website, and this is done through Google Insights, it shows that there's a graph where the popularity of this search term has been declining year after year after year after year. And if I continue to the next slide, the search term using the search term landing page using the same report is on the rise. And so in 2004 something happened that began the ending of one industry and the beginning of a new, and that those two industries being landing pages versus websites. And so we've often asked the question, well, what caused one industry to start moving downward and another industry to start increasing? And these are some of my opinions, and you may have your own, but in 2004 we really had mass adoption of pay-per-click marketing. I understand that there was pay-per-click marketing before that time, but when it really started picking up momentum was around 2004. We also had the introduction of video on the web and high-speed internet connections, and all of these different elements played a role into how people could view things online. They could view them quicker. They could see videos, which allowed to have better presentations. They could buy traffic to go to their websites. And when people started doing this, as more and more people started buying traffic and sending it to a website, the big question was, how do I convert that traffic? How do I take the traffic I'm sending there and make sure that every dime that I'm spending is making me a return on it? And so really pay-per-click marketing was being sent to websites, and you know how websites are. I found a graphic on the web, and before I continue, I'll jump in and pull it up. This graphic here, I'll just pull it up real quick here. It's an interesting graphic. I found it on the web today, but it shows a website and all the different things that websites have now. They have a webinar page, a podcast page, vlogs, blogs, white papers, tutorials, case studies, directories and events, press releases, and more. So there's a lot of distractions that if I were going to that website to buy something or to inquire about a service, I might go there to inquire and find out that I'm within a few clicks sitting on a podcast site or looking at their webinars or reading their press release or looking at their directories, and the next thing you know, I didn't even accomplish the purpose that I even came there for. And marketers knew this, so they started shifting their advertising from pointing to websites to actually pointing to landing pages. And so the big question is, what is a landing page? And there's a very, very simple answer. A landing page is an ad that has a single call to action, meaning there's no competing offers on the page. It doesn't say pick this or this. It simply says one thing. If you are selling an iPhone, it says buy the iPhone. If you're generating a lead for a mortgage loan, then it says fill out this form to get a quote. It is a specific offer with a single call to action. And landing pages have several elements that make them effective. And these elements, there's some technology behind them. Sometimes this stuff isn't just invented and you throw it together and hope that it works. There's actually science behind it. And one of these sciences is what's called eye tracking. And I don't know if any of you have ever taken a balance test before, but what they do is there's one balance test where they put a pair of goggles on you, and this looks like something out of a Star Trek movie. And what the goggles do is they can read your eye and where your eye movement is. And then they shine a red laser dot on the wall, and your job is to follow it. And as you follow it, it tracks your eye movement. Well, they've taken the same technology, and Google did a study where they stuck people using this type of technology, goggles and tracking where the eye moves, and they put them in front of websites, and they watched the movement, and over a series of websites that they visited, they were able to identify naturally where the eye moved on that site and where it ended up. And this heat map on the left-hand side here represents that. It shows some of the hottest spots on the page. Now, if I was a marketer and I wanted to tell my client something, I would want my most important message to be exactly where the eye is going to land, ultimately. And so what we've done is, in the creation of landing pages and offers, have designed them in a way where the eye is going to track specifically to the offer that you're going to be selling, or the data that you're going to be requesting on. And that's right here. You can see an example. There's a lead form on this specific offer. So the capture point of where you capture the client data is very, very important. Secondly is the conversion, and a lot of times you have to ask the question is, why would somebody want to fill out your lead form, or why would somebody want to buy your product? And really that comes down to the presentation. If you don't have a good presentation, your conversion's probably not going to be that high. So what we do is we have an area that allows you to put a video into that landing page. And the reason for that is to allow you to put some type of a presentation out there to help with conversion. Now, what's interesting about this, and let me just quit my mail real quick and my Skype. What's interesting about this is you've heard the saying, you can lead a horse to water but you can't make him drink. So you give him a little bit of salt on the tongue and then he wants to drink, right? Well, we call these salt videos, and the reason for it is because you want to keep them to about 30 seconds, and that's going to give the people just enough information to want more. So if I was going to maybe sell 10 tips or give away 10 tips on how to plant a tree, I might say, hey, tip 1 is this, and tip 2 is this, and tip 3 is this, and if you want the rest of the tips, fill out the form and I'll send them to you. You know, but whatever it is, that's your salt video. It's just enticing them to complete the rest of the offer. Now, so we call that salt video. There's other things like powerful introductions. There's product sales that reduce risk. So you can include things like pictures and graphics, testimonials. All of these things play an effective role in conversion. The important thing is that when you understand what a landing page is versus a website, you start understanding why these elements are important and why you need to have them on your site, and why you need to have landing pages in addition to your website. Think of it kind of like the billboard that you drive down the freeway, you're driving down next to it, you look up, there's the billboard, and that billboard doesn't always tell you every single service that company does. It's gonna highlight one specific service, like accident, call this attorney. And that's exactly what the ad is for people that are having accidents. And so think of a landing page that way. If you're selling a BlackBerry phone, the ad is on the BlackBerry phone. If it's an iPhone, it's on an iPhone. It's not, you see a T-Mobile ad and they show pictures